We are in the Master Degree class of Library and Information Science. We shall cover Unit 5, an Introduction to Information, in the course Information Communication and Society in this class. We are going to discuss the concept of information, the definition of information, theoretical foundations of information, and relevance of information study, particularly in respect to LIS field, and in that respect we also discuss relevance of Ranganathan's 5 laws of library science to information study. American mathematician Norbert Wiener long back in 1948 said, "Information is information, neither matter nor energy." Information is essential to our existence. The essence of our existence relies on information. It is the factor that regulates our decision making, enables us to learn and grow, and helps us to communicate with one another. In essence, information is the building block of knowledge, and without it, we would struggle to make sense of the world around us. Information comes in many different forms, including written texts, images, videos, and audio recordings. It can be accessed through various channels such as through printed media, as books, or through digital media as social media platforms. The rise of digital technology has revolutionized the way we produce, consume, and share information, making it easier than ever to access vast amount of data from anywhere in the world. The importance of information extends far beyond our personal lives. It is a critical resource for businesses, governments, and institutions, helping them make informed decisions and stay competitive in a rapidly changing world. From scientific research to financial analysis, information plays a crucial role in driving progress and innovation across all sectors of society. As we continue to discuss the complexities of digital age, understanding the nature and power of information has never been more important. By harnessing its potential and using it wisely, we can unlock new opportunities and solve some of the world's most pressing challenges. The concept of information. Information is a collection of data that has been processed, organized, or structured in a meaningful way to convey knowledge, ideas, or instructions. At its core, information is a representation of reality and is used to convey knowledge about the world around us. It can be factual, subjective, or even fictional, and can take many difficult forms depending on its purpose and audience. The quality and accuracy of information can significantly impact individual and collective outcomes, making it crucial to critically evaluate and verify the sources and reliability of the information we consume. The role of information in promoting democratic values and principles is of great importance. Access to accurate and reliable information is essential for individuals to make accurate decisions and participate in the democratic process. Information science and related professions focus on information communication chain encompassing activities such as creation, collection, organization, management, storage, retrieval, dissemination, and utilization of information. Now, what is the definition of information? Information in its simplest form can be defined as data that has been organized, processed, or structured in a meaningful way to provide context or relevance and value to a user. It serves as the foundation for communication, decision making, and knowledge creation. From an interdisciplinary perspective, information encompasses elements of philosophy, mathematics, computer science, communication studies, etc. Key attributes of information include relevance, accuracy, timeliness, and comprehensibility. The concept information is somewhat tricky to define as it is usually not a tangible object. There are several available definitions of information, rather a universally accepted one. The first thing we need to be aware of it is that information is not one thing. It is an abstraction which differs significantly across different disciplines. Several authors working within the information science paradigm or close to it approach the problem in a similar way. Cole, for example, defines information as that which modifies knowledge structure. The word information has its origin in Latin, deriving from the verb informare, which means to shape, form, or to give form to something, often implying the act of teaching or shaping the mind or structuring knowledge. In informare, in is a prefix meaning into and forma is a noun meaning form or shape or pattern. The term information has a rich etymological history. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, it originally referred to the forming or molding of the mind, suggesting that the soul could be informed. While this stage is no longer common, it highlights the powerful influence of information. The verb form of inform, meaning the action of informing or the communication of knowledge or news of some fact or occurrence, indicates both an active process and the content being shared. The word information is complex and confusing. The same message can inform different people in different ways. Shannon in 1953 said that the word information has been given different meanings by various writers in the general field of information theory. It is likely that at least a number of these will prove sufficiently useful in certain applications to deserve further study and permanent recognition. It is hardly to be expected that a single concept of information would satisfactorily account for numerous possible applications of this general field. Bateson defined information is a difference that makes a difference. Buttrop stated information seems innocent because everyone talks about information or information technology and an information society. However, its definition carries a whole theory of knowledge. Thus, Wig defines information as facts or data organized to characterize a particular situation and knowledge as a set of truths and beliefs or perspectives and concepts or judgments and expectations or methodologies and know-how. Information can be seen as data made meaningful by being put into context and maybe as knowledge as data made meaningful through a set of beliefs about the causal relationships between actions and their probable consequences and gained through either inference or experience, said by Mitchell. Meadow et al. Pointed out information has no universally accepted meaning but generally carries the connotation of evaluated, validated, or useful data. Again, as cited by Zorland, captures trilemma suggested that we can understand meaning of information in three ways. Those are univocity, analogy, and equivocity. Univocity means the same meaning in all contexts. Analogy, it has one true meaning in a specific context but may be applied as an analogy in others. Equivocity may have multiple equally valid meanings in different contexts. Harrod's Librarian's Glossary and Reference Book defines information is an assemblage of data in a comprehensible form capable of communication. This may range from content in any format, written or printed, on paper, stored in an electronic database, collected on the internet, etc., to the personal knowledge of the staff of an organization. Adrians in 2024 stated that with the emergence of the empirical theory of knowledge in early modern philosophy, the development of various mathematical theories of information in the 20th century, and the rise of information technology, the concept of information has conquered a central place in the science and in society. Everything we know about the world is based on information we received or gathered, and every science in principle deals with information. Now, what are the theoretical foundations of information? The term information is a very ambiguous term and used in different ways. Definitions of information often contradict one another and often fail to provide an adequate basis for its understanding. Information has been defined or considered in several different ways as the word information used differently in different contexts. In this class, we discuss the approaches by some of the eminent information scientists and practitioners since the latter half of 20th century. We cover here approaches by Daniel Bell, Gemma Borsig and Ulrich Nebling, Belkin, B.C. Brooks, Fridge MacLeod, Michael Buckland and Paul Beynon Davis. Buckland in 1991 has classified information in terms of its uses to understand it more clearly. This framework distinguishes three main components or uses of information as information as process, information as knowledge and information as thing. Another notion has been added later, that is information as a resource. Now we discuss different approaches to information as proposed by Buckland. Approach to information as process involves the alteration of an individual's knowledge state. It is the process of becoming informed. When people are informed, what they know is changed. Information is thus an act of informing, the action of telling or being told something. This process, in other words, is the communication of knowledge. This notion of the concept implies that what someone knows is changed when he or she is informed. So, information is the action of informing or communication of knowledge or news of some fact or occurrence, or the action of telling or fact of being told something. Signals, data or symbols may, when perceived by somebody with proper knowledge and cognitive skill, change the person's state of knowledge. This is a two-stage process. The first stage knows the physiological perception of the signals or the data, and the second stage is the process of being informed as a result of the combination of thought and evidence. Evidence may come in the form of event communication, records, etc. Next, we discuss approach to information as a thing. Information as thing involves information's materiality, usually associated with documents. Information becomes a synonym for document. It is manifested in and exists or is contained within some kinds of material objects such as bits, bytes, books, sounds, images and anything physical forms perceived as signifying the word document, which was not historically limited to textual media. Thus, These all types of document representation can be used as a technical term for information as thing. This signifies all kinds of tangible objects, particularly those that are considered and used as documents. Here, information means data or documents which are regarded as being informative. Information as thing is meaningful in two senses. Firstly, at a specific situation and points in time, an object or event may actually be informative. And secondly, since the use of evidence is imperfectly predictable, the term information is commonly used to denote some population of objects to which some significant probability of being usefully informative in the future has been attributed. Approaches to information as knowledge. It involves equating the information with the knowledge it imparts that was learned as a result of being informed. Information and knowledge are in many instances closely related. The information that is communicated is consumed, perceived and understood by individuals as knowledge, which simultaneously changes their knowledge state. The information imparted in the process of information is a change of knowledge and thus a change of belief. Information in this sense is a fully intangible commodity. Next, we discuss approach to information as a resource. Like air, water and space, information is available in abundance. It is also abused, wasted, neglected and degraded. It is an international resource. It is built internationally and used internationally. Information is considered as a resource as fundamental as energy or matter which affects all human activity. As an individual and societal resource, information has some interesting characteristics that separate it from the traditional economic resources. The value of information lies in its ability to help us make informed decisions, solve problems and communicate effectively with others. It is a critical source for individuals, organizations and society as a whole and plays a vital role in driving progress and innovation in all areas of human endeavor. Bell's approach. Daniel Bell places emphasis on the centrality of theoretical knowledge as the source of innovation and policy formation in the information society. Bell suggests that information is data processing in the broadest sense. The storage and processing of data becomes the essential resource for all economic and social changes. Next, in 1975, Warsick and Nevlings considered information much more comprehensively, adopting 6 different approaches: the structural approach, the knowledge approach, the message approach, the meaning approach, the effect approach and the process approach. The structural approach, in which information is seen as structures of the world or static relations between physical objects which may be perceived or not. The knowledge approach records knowledge that is built up on the basis of perception of the structure of the world. The message approach, in which information is recorded as symbol. The meaning approach, where the semantic content of a message is accepted as information. The effect approach or the recipient approach states that information occurs only as a specific effect of a process, and Warsick and Nevling's process approach is used to see information as a process which, for example, occurs in the human mind when a problem and useful data are brought together. The substances of these approaches is that information is a social process. In 1978, Belkin postulates 3 approaches to the determination of the requirement of an information concept. These are methodological, behavioral and definitional approaches. In methodological approach having to do with the utility of the concept, behavioral approach having to do with the phenomena which the concept must account for, and definitional approach having to do with the context of the concept. According to Brook, knowledge is a summation of many bits of information which have been organized into some sort of coherent entity. The relationship is expressed in a simple equation which he calls the fundamental equation of information science. It is state of knowledge Ks plus delta I is equivalent to state of changed knowledge. That is, it states that is knowledge structure is changed to the new modified structure Ks plus delta S by the information delta I. The delta S indicating the effect of the modification. But Brook was inconclusive as the equation defines the unknown in terms of unknown. The equation is not strictly a mathematical expression but merely expressed in a pseudo mathematical form because it is the most compact way in which the data can be expressed. It merely says that a knowledge structure changes when bits of information are added to it and the new structure can be interpreted to have changed from its original structure and nothing more. It does not express any exact measure of change. McCullough's approach to information. Fritz McCullough is said to be the pioneer of information economics. McCullough's studies on information and knowledge through his seminal book in 1962, namely The Production and Distribution of Knowledge in the United States, and his subsequent publications on knowledge and information, placed information and knowledge as the primary economic resource for growth and development of any economy. McCullough's distinction between information and knowledge is succinctly described. He considered information as piecemeal, whereas knowledge as structured, coherent, and often of enduring significance. He considered information as timely, transitory, and maybe even ephemeral, but knowledge is a stock largely resulting from the flow inputs of information. He considered information as a flow of messages which may affect the stock of knowledge by adding to it, restructuring it, or changing it in any way. Next, we discuss Benon Davis' approach to information. Benon Davis explains the multifaceted concept of information in terms of semiotics that are pragmatics, semantics, syntax, and empirics. Pragmatics links the issue of science with the context within which signs are used. Semantics is concerned with the meaning of a message conveyed in a communicative act, and semantics can be considered as the study of link between symbols and their reference and concepts, particularly the way that signs relate to human behavior. Syntax is devoted to the study of the form rather than the content of signs and sign systems. Empirics is an epistemological view which holds that true knowledge and justification comes only primarily from sensory experience and empirical evidence. After discussing the theoretical foundations of information, we discuss the applications of information study. With the understanding of the concept of information, we now discuss the core areas of application of information study. The application of information study includes the information cycle and its distinct components. These fields deal with those processes and techniques pertaining to information capture and generation, processing, transmission, presentation, storage, etc. Again, information study implies on information visualization. Information visualization depends on the computation and digital representation of data and assists users in pattern recognition and anomaly detection. Information communication, another area of information study, represents the convergence of informatics, telecommunication, and audiovisual media and content. Another field of concern is information security. Information security is the ongoing process of exercising due diligence to protect information and information systems from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, destruction, modification, disruption, or distribution through algorithms and procedures focused on monitoring and detection as well as incident response and repair. Another field is information analysis, which is the process of inspecting, transforming, and modeling information by converting raw data into actionable knowledge in support of the decision making process. Now we discuss the relevance of information study to library and information science fields. Libraries and information centers have always been concerned with information and knowledge. Study and discussion on the nature of definition of information do provide us a sharper focus on the contents and quality of information service to users, either for reducing uncertainty to their prior information or perception of information or knowledge, or help in taking right decisions in different contexts, or aiding their studies or research, or adding to or enriching their already existing knowledge. The emphasis is always on developing better tools and techniques for organizing, managing, and servicing recorded data, information, and knowledge. The main concern of library and information scientists involved in the communication transfer process and information communication technology, multimedia, internet, web, and other related technologies have introduced a total metamorphosis in the methods and techniques of organization and offering services in libraries and cognate institutions. But no technology by itself can ever change, modify, alter, or negate information contents under any circumstances. Electronic libraries, virtual libraries, digital libraries, and such other expressions are indicating only the physical store and the consequent changes in the organization of such libraries, and they have nothing to do with the contents of material these libraries have. In this regard, we must discuss the relevance of Ranganathan's 5 laws to information studies. Ranganathan's 5 laws of library science, examined in the light of the canvas of information studies, give the widest implications as it is observed. Restated with focus on information, the 5 laws are: information is for use, every user his or her information, every information its user, save the time of the user, and information institutions is a growing organism. The first law, information is for use, stresses the value of information in its use. Information pervades every human activity. It is important to reiterate that information has value only in its use. Mere possession of information in whatever form, if remains idle in a store, even if it is in a highly sophisticated digital form, is of no worth. The concept information society is very much in conformity with Ranganathan's perception. The second law, every user his or her information, suggests that information services should be entirely oriented towards user needs. The third law, every information its user, focuses on information. The entire information transfer process should be in consonance with the ultimate use. The primary principle in information service is right information to the right user in the right time is communicated here. Communication channels should be focused on use. The fourth law, save the time of the user, places emphasis on the timeliness with which it is accomplished with the quality is the essence of the service. The use of information technology provides high quality information service in time. The fifth law refers to the dynamics of change, which is seen in the ever growing and turbulent advancement of data, information and knowledge. These laws of Ranganathan are philosophical norms or precepts or guides for good practice in the wider field of information studies and their new expanding dimensions. Now, in this class, we have seen that a universally accepted definition of information is not only difficult but impossible due to its vast scope and usability. The concept is multifaceted and multidisciplinary and is coping with the context it is used in. While various definitions have been proposed, sometimes they may contradict each other. However, a strong theoretical foundation of the study of information provides a scope to explore and understand its concept. Different theoretical foundations contribute to the complexity of defining information. In this class, we have discussed the concept of information, its definition from different sources, and have also tried to understand the vastness of the concept through its theoretical foundations. And with the concepts and the perceptions of information, we have also discussed the application of information study, and that is also in respect to library and information science field. That is all for today's class. Thank you.